a very personal experience.
It's worth finding your tribe, because if you don't, sometimes you'll feel alone. There's a difference between lonely and being alone.
And you can come out on so many things, especially once you have become aware at your point of awakening.
And those who are coming along your journey with you will be there. And then others are not, because I was afraid to come out.
So whenever that point of awakening comes of a new version of yourself or another attribute, coming out is a very sacred process. You got to take a moment to decide when or if you're going to reveal this part of yourself to the world.
I want to do more. Like you said with the quicksand, I need to move. But the further that I move, the further I add on to get out of this state, the further I... Greetings, beautiful souls. It's your host, Dr. K. Canner. And today you are here with another episode of To Whom This May Concern, where we talk cannabis, life, and everything in between with zero judgment, but 100% realness. Today, we have one of my dearest friends, my spirit guides, and my tribal sisters, Dr. Oga Obie. So I'm just going to go in and give a little bio about you, let the people know who you are, and then we're going to jump into it.
Okay.
All right. So, Dr. Oga Obie, affectionately known in her community as Dr. Oga, is a U.S. board-certified physician, intuitive healer, and a modern medicine woman. After years in the ER and experiencing personal loss, she embraced a journey of self-discovery. Starting early in her career, Dr. Oga unconsciously vowed to herself that if she was going to obey her parents and become a doctor, she would still somehow forge her own path, one that will honor her unique voice and vision. Gradually developing the concept of inner defiance, she began exploring the unconventional worlds of Shaoism, psychedelics, and authenticity, eventually gravitating towards intentional solitude in her own disease. Learning from ancient teachers like ayahuasca, bufo, MDMA, anger, and patience, Dr. Oga began combining her medical expertise with her intuitive gifts, offering a unique, holistic approach to healing. Dr. Oga guides her clients towards transformation and authenticity, helping them discover the powerful connection between their true selves and wellness. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome Dr. Oga Obie. Okay, I am. How are you feeling today?
I am I don't just answer that question. I had to think about it.
Take time.
Honestly, I am feeling seductive.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's on you.
I'm feeling it.
How does that make you do you wake up and feel this way? Is this something new for you to feel? Is it something you felt before?
The energies are always around. So lately, as you know, I have been allowing myself to be more perceptive and to participate in life, answering whatever is the most dominant in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling.
You feeling it?
I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling it.
Honey,
I'm about to zip my shirt and be seductive around here. Get a little something. The energy is flowing. Okay. So I'm just jump right into it with a few questions. I just open it up for the people. I have a lot of questions, but we're going to take our time here. So I just want to give a background before we even get started. I have been knowing you since the day, maybe 2 weeks after I moved in to Houston. And we have been locked in ever since then. And I met you first through ACAM, Association for Cannabis, Health, Equity, and Medicine. And you were the president, the founder of ACAM. And I said, I need to see her. I need to go find her in Houston, Texas. And I went and found you, and it was, I've known you my whole life. Because I have.
Honestly.
We have known each other years and years, past lifetimes before. And listen, y'all, when y'all find that tribe and it's an instant connection, don't let it go. Further explore it. All right. So Your work bridges science, spirituality, and healing. How has your journey as a physician and a healer informed your understanding of self-discovery and authenticity?
My journey as a physician and a healer. When I went into medicine, when I decided to become a doctor, it was based off of a very strong suggestion from my parents. My mom and my dad are both Nigerian, and they had plans for me. I'm extremely obedient. Extremely obedient. I enjoy laws and authority and principles. And I loved strategy. So since I didn't have a plan for myself to join this matrix, I went with my parents' plan. And part of that meant that I would have to figure out how not to feel bad every day as a doctor. This is very challenging because it wasn't my choice. I guess it was, but it wasn't part of my little girl plan or my adolescent plan. So that sort of when I put myself in a position that did not feel authentic, it literally forced out of me authenticity. If I was going to be happy, if I was going to feel good, if I was going to, I don't know, not want to stop existing, then I would have to figure out who I was. And so really becoming a doctor or choosing the pathway to become a doctor literally squeezed me like a pimple into being authentic. And out of that, out of being a doctor, out of practicing, I'm an emergency medicine doctor, so I deal with a lot of trauma, or I did. Out of that, I started to sort of buck the title of doctor. I really started disliking it. And this concept of healer would come up, and it really sort of didn't fit. It still doesn't fit. One day, though, I forget who it was. It was you. You were like, "You're a medicine woman." And I was like,
Got the chill. Got activated around
"I'm a medicine woman." And I honestly, every single step that I took to becoming a doctor, to being a doctor, to bucking the title of doctor, to questioning what a healer was, led me to become more and more vocal. And the people around me that really resonated with me, who I was compatible with, like you, started to listen, I guess. And out of that came words that made more sense, titles that made more sense, or states of being that made more sense. So I'm not sure what I am, to be honest. I know what I enjoy, but I'm not sure what I am. I guess I am.
I am what I am. I am. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about life. Like you have this sense of knowing of what I'm attracted to, what I like, what I like and what I don't like. But the journey is figuring out who I am. So, we have the same similar background. My parents had a strong suggestion for me to go into pharmacy. And I went. And even before then, I knew I didn't want to do that. It didn't align. It didn't fit me. I just was like, oh, I need to do this to help my parents, to help X, Y, and Z. This sense of validation, this sense of, oh, I'm going to have doctor in front of my name. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew that's what I wanted to do. But as I got older, I realized that there are so many different ways to help people. Like I tell people all the time, the garbage man help me every day.
Hello?
Because who's going to get this
Who's going to get this garbage?
Because it ain't going to be me. I would leave it on the side. I know that's so sad, but no, I don't like the garbage.
I mean, that's not your thing, yeah.
Oh, artists, healers, this is the goal of the podcast, to bring people who know that they are healers, but finding how you heal in your own authentic way. Because let's see here. Not only Let's go through your credentials, shall we? Founder of Maha Health, international public speaker, inner defiance and endocrinologist, inner defiance and authenticity coach, board certified emergency medicine, multi-state hospice and palliative care medicine, as well as registered as a physician in the Texas Compassionate Use Program. Mm-hmm. When you have time to do anything for yourself,
baby, time does not exist.
It doesn't. Catch it. You heard it. Time don't exist. So don't be trying to rush yourself and trying to figure time don't exist. It just don't. Okay. Let's see here. So with that, I know that you've experienced personal loss. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask, is there any other pivotal moment in your life, personally or professionally, that set you on that path towards discovering your higher self? I know that you were just wanting to be authentic, but was there a turning point that was pivotal that made you say, this isn't me?
Ooh. Let me tell you, polyamory. Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Taught me a great deal about myself. Oh. Polyamory followed by intentional solitude or intentional isolation. Mm-hmm. I don't know where to even start. I will tell you this, though. The concept of participating with another human being who you have an intense attraction to, who is also experiencing a level of love and connection with another who is not you, in my world, was deliciously shattering. Every title that I had for myself, monogamous, black woman, goddess, desirable, intelligent, manipulative, queen, mother, all these things, all these titles, stripped. And I've been in love before. This is not that. This is literally, for me, was looking at a reflection of myself that did not agree with my titles. Did not agree that I was a queen. Did not agree that I was a goddess. Did not agree that I was monogamous. Did not agree that I was a wife. Did not agree that I was the chosen one. Wow. Did not agree that I was the smartest in the room. And that relationship really was way more significant at the destruction of me than even the loss of my partner. I
don't think people understand that destruction of you is deeper than losing any person out your life. Because it's like you're dying. Mm-hmm. You die. Mm-hmm. And most people are very skeptical to say, oh, I died. Like, you didn't die. Oh, but I did. Died several times.
Several times.
How did each death to be reborn feel each time? Did you recognize that these titles were fading away when you had to have that reflection in your mirror? Was it something that you knew was coming? Have you experienced this feeling before? And I asked that because on a discovery to authenticity and self-discovery, sometimes you kind of see the patterns before they come. Or was this one just something totally different?
Each death is its own. And, you know, the funeral proceedings are huge. For example, the death of being a queen. Do you know how many, and especially a black female queen, there are a lot of us that were at the funeral. Asking why, what happened, like, you know, so each one of those beliefs about myself that I felt like should be upheld by the man in the relationship that I was in, the relationship with, each one of those versions of myself died, and they had a huge funeral proceeding. I mean, they were all over the news. It was all over everywhere. And I'm basically the third person watching these funerals and feeling all of it. It was very challenging. It is very challenging even to go back to the memories. But in the aftermath, you sitting there just like naked and dead and without any of those titles anymore. Can't even go close to them again. It required a strategy to rebuild. And that strategy ended up being me choosing something that I call divine solitude, but it's an intentional isolation. I did not want to do it at all. I was already dead like 7 times. But when I entered into that, that was the process of reinvention. It is the process. I'm still in it. I'm out today, but I'm still in it. It's an ongoing thing. What I have discovered I am is I am that I am, and so this allowance to constantly evolve, to be something today and decide what I want to be tomorrow when tomorrow comes. This is what it turned out to be. Like, I'm not a philosopher. I'm a hardworking scientist.
Period.
I don't do philosophy like that. But this definitely turned me into that.
Wow.
For sure.
Wow. 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 Turning you into philosophy, to develop your own philosophy. I think that people don't understand that you don't have to agree with all philosophy. You have to agree with the philosophy that is more in tune with yourself. And so, because you're a thought leader now. New add to you. She's cultivating thoughts around here. Okay, she's gonna help you lead your thoughts down this way. So get it together. I love that. So you said something about transforming and the tools that you use, like unconventional healing tools like psychedelics, Shawism, intentional solitude, as well as being in the Texas Compassionate Use Program, Cannabis. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to switch the subject.
Here we go.
So, guys, I want you to know that the Texas Compassionate Use Program is a program that's here in Texas. It was passed in 2015 as the Compassionate Use Act. It allowed medical physicians to prescribe medical cannabis to patients who had qualifying conditions. During that time, it was for intractable epilepsy, but since the years has passed, there are now over 150 qualifying conditions. So to answer your question, yes, medical cannabis is legal in Texas. So with that, how has the cannabis world, in a sense, helped in your everyday practice? What caused you to transition into cannabis medicine?
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
Being a doctor did allow me to explore health science, which I enjoy science, period, not just the health sciences. And because I'm a little defiant. I really am. That's just my nature. I do like rules, but I like rules so that I can figure out how to stay right on the edge of them. It's fun for me because this is how innovation happens. This is what evolution is. This is why I like science. Science stays right on the edge of the laws so that it pushes it to create something different. So I did not learn or even partake in cannabis before medical school. Except for, I think I smoked one time or something like that.
That is not my story. You know me. But no, please continue.
But, I started going towards the more spiritually well-known psychedelics, ayahuasca, San Pedro, Bufo, Iboga, peyote. I was more inclined to study those things than I was marijuana because in the United States, and I grew up in Texas, it has a very harsh history, specifically against black and brown people, and it's specifically against black and brown men. And so, I just was not exposed to it. And I would tell you I probably wasn't interested because I wasn't interested in participating in the plant in that way because of its history. Then I finished medical school, went into residency, and started getting into herbal, like mostly essential oils, mostly the dry herbs that are legal. And then I was approached by a friend who had another friend who was in San Francisco who was starting a company that was rooted in medical marijuana in the state of California. I went out there to make sure that they did not screw themselves over, not understanding the science of the plant. So then I started studying it. Well, inevitably, the history, this plant evolved at the top of the Himalaya Mountains. It has an internal genetic demographic that is so diverse. They say there is probably one strain for every existing human being. That's how diverse the plant is said to be. Diversity is in its essence, it's in its color, it's in its smell, and inevitably in its psychedelic capacity. And for it to be as diverse as the human population said a lot to me about its connection to the human being, which is a very complex thing. And then I discovered that the cannabis plant has almost the same system as the human endocannabinoid system, which I had never heard of. And I love science. I studied in school. I don't care what nobody say.
Can you explain that? What is the endocannabinoid system in the human body?
The endocannabinoid system is a system in our body that acts like the composer of an orchestra. So it coordinates and moves every other system in a composing sort of way, in a way that a composer would do an orchestra. And if you have never really studied composers, these are, watch a video, watch a movie, really get into the seduction that composers train themselves to do for all of those instruments on stage. Endocannabinoid system does the same thing for all of our systems. It organizes and coordinates the hormone system, the heart system, the brain system, the spinal cord system, the immune system, all of the systems in the body. And it basically tells them when to crescendo and decrescendo so that it can keep it in line to prevent dis-ease. So that's our endocannabinoid system. And the cannabis plant has almost an identical system in itself. And when its system interacts with our system, it helps our system re-coordinate, remember its composer state. Yeah.
It's the composer. I've never heard it described in that way, as a composer. And my mind just went flowing. I'm like, oh. So it's taking this section, and cohesively bringing them together to create this harmonious sound, this harmonious body. Like being in the homeostasis state of the body.
Yes.
I'm so excited about it. People should get that. So with that, what are some misconceptions about it? Since we have this plant that has THC, CBD, and all the other cannabinoids that, when consumed, it binds to receptors, help regulate the endocannabinoid system. What are the biggest misconceptions that you've heard or myths about this plant that would keep it from being used or brought to the light as a beneficial tool in medicine?
I think the biggest misconception is that, just like the other psychedelics, that it's a drug to be used rather than an energy to be experienced. What I mean by that is, when there is dis-ease or uneasiness, we need to be seduced. We need to be cajoled. We need to be relaxed. We need to be brought into a state where we remember our power. We remember our ability to heal. And healing is much more than just curing things. Most of us aren't just content with not feeling pain. Most of us want to feel pleasure, or most of us want to thrive. Most of us want to do much more than surviving. So the biggest misconception about cannabis or marijuana is that it's a drug to be used. But you would never use a woman. You would never use a man. You would experience them. And you would almost want to coexist with them harmoniously. So that's the misconception, I think, of anything that we call a drug, but especially of cannabis. Yeah, with people are really missing out on microdosing, missing out on even just reading about it.
Yeah.
Just reading about it. A lot of times when I would read about cannabis, I would realize I was reading about myself.
Ooh. Yes. And I tell anyone, I see this plant as me.
Yeah.
Like, I see myself literally in this plant, which makes sense when you said that there might be a strain. There is a strain for all individuals in this world. And I'm like, that makes sense. It's like being a human. It's a human being. It's a part of us. It's something that we need to explore, not only in the healing aspect of physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And it's all about how you use it intentionally.
Yes.
I tell somebody now, don't be going out here thinking you going to, however you consume, whether you roll it up in a paper, in a gar, and then you just want to go watch TV. No. Don't use the misconception that you just a lazy person and then you want to consume some cannabis or smoke some weed. That's not how that works. It's about all intentionality with anything that you do. If I drink some water, the intention is I wanted to replenish myself. I wanted to help with my skin. I need to become energized. But this plant is the same way.
Yeah.
But they want to just... I'm getting emotional. Because I was... I'm getting emotional. I was a person before who did not believe in this plant. Because before going to college, I had homeboys, I had homegirls, they consume. And I was like, ooh, honey, y'all just crash them. They're going to lose your brain cells. And I'm getting emotional because at that time, and the person I am now, didn't even give the opportunity to do the research. So I went in judging, not even knowing. And I'm getting emotional because how often are we judged?
Yeah.
And people don't even know us. And I just want to give that to people and let y'all know. But don't be, if you ain't an advocate, you ain't got to be ignorant about it. And ignorant means you don't know. So go and do the research to find out. So that is... Woo, I got chills.
I'm saying.
Because we need to know more about this.
Express yourself.
Express yourself. Need to. And I don't like the fact that, I know so many people that consume, but they don't want nobody else to know.
Oh, I understand.
Really?
I do.
Tell me.
I do. Coming out is a very personal experience, and you can come out on so many things, especially once you have become aware at your point of awakening. Once you become aware that you're in there, then every single point where you realize who you are is a coming out moment. And most of us have been conditioned to not express ourselves. Most of us have been conditioned to not be authentic. Most of us. This is worldwide, but especially in our country, America. We have really been encouraged that it is normal to not be unique. So whenever that point of awakening comes of a new version of yourself or another attribute, coming out is a very sacred process. And so there absolutely is fear that is part of the strengthening of that attribute, but it does require a moment. You got to take a moment to decide when or if you're going to reveal this part of yourself to the world. It's an act of defiance. It is a very beautiful sexual and creative moment. And, cannabis use is, there's so many reasons not to tell anyone. There's so many reasons to stay in the closet. I do understand that. I do.
Yeah.
But I'm also here on the other side, ready to embrace anyone who is ready to express.
Yes. Express yourself, honey. Let it go. Let it out.
Yeah.
Like, what they gonna do? For real.
Texas, it's hemp use is legal. Now, you got to be careful if you work for anyone, because, one of the shackles is this concept of random drug testing, which is so mean. But it means well, too. But it's mean.
It's mean.
It's mean.
Because I just feel like, I could take my benzos. I could take my opioid medication. Whatever helps. But you don't want to deem this plant as medication. But it's like, isn't all medicines pretty much derived
from plants?
Right? So what is really behind it? And so when you said taking your time to come out, this is why I created this space. A space for authenticity, a space where you can take your time, you can feel vulnerable, you don't have to feel judged. Be who you are, that you are in the state, in this time in which you are being. And I'll accept you. I'll let you know if the energy collaborates or not. We'll know.
Exactly.
We'll know.
It's a whole nother story.
We got another podcast.
Because there's a whole nother story. Compatibility is another story.
We got another one.
That don't mean you should be yourself. Some folks you just click with, and some people click better with someone else.
Yeah. It's okay. Find your tribe.
Find your tribe.
Find your tribe.
Worth it.
It's worth finding your tribe, because if you don't, sometimes you'll feel alone. There's a difference between lonely and being alone. Solitude is being alone. Because I'm not lonely. But I need to be in solitude in order to cultivate this being, this cosmic force. We just learned it the other day. This cosmic force that we are, to come to the light. And so that's what cannabis has done for me. I like to indulge as a pre-workout. I like to indulge it when I'm transitioning into something new, even when my anxiety is high. Some people take benzodiazepines. I take a puff pass here and there, and I'm good, and I'm able to still function. Nobody will ever know that when I consume. You'll never know unless I tell you, unless I want you to know. But I want to show up in this world as authentic as I am. Now imagine me having to tell my mama, my grandparents, the person that they raised and to be and go to pharmacy school, and I'm from Mississippi. So Mississippi probably got it worse than Texas when it comes to certain stigmas behind it. And honestly, it was you. It was you that gave me this push to say, you don't have to live like this, right? You can be your authentic self. And those who are coming along your journey with you will be there. And then others are not, because I was afraid to come out. I was very so much afraid. I'm trying to hide it from my mama, trying to hide it from my grandparents, my friends, because I just knew they was going to think that I'm a crash dummy, I'm a couch potato, I don't know anything, I threw away my degree. It was so many thoughts because I'm just like, no, but that's not who I am. And so one day, I was consuming cannabis, and I went into a meditative state. The longest meditative state I ever had, and I heard a voice that was not mine. These are not my thoughts that I'm creating. I don't create these thoughts when I'm in that meditative state. And so hearing those voices, it wasn't just, most people say, it was God. Okay, yes, it was God. But also it was my ancestor voices too.
Okay.
And they told me that you came back in order to break stigmas, to help dissociate stigmas. Cannabis is your vehicle, but it's not the destination.
Right.
So we're here talking about cannabis, but the destination is authenticity.
Right.
But this is my vehicle in which I use that. Other people have other different vehicles, but I feel like it's my duty to talk about how this plant not only binds to CB1 and CB2 receptors in your body, but all type of receptors. And the misconceptions that you would die if you overdose on cannabis, that's not true, people. Can you overdose? Yes, you have to understand the definition of things. You can consume too much and cause you to go in a certain state. But we have some fixes for that. Go lay down, drink some water, peppercorn, lemon zest. We have some things to help you with that. But you will not die versus with other opioids that are on the schedule. But marijuana is a Schedule 1. Can you explain what that means, the difference between the Schedule 1, Schedule 2?
Oh, the controlled substances?
The controlled substances, yeah.
Schedule 1, by definition, is said to mean that the substance has no medicinal benefit to the human being and has a highly addictive potential to the human being and is likely lethal, meaning deadly to the human being. Marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug. And hydrocodone, Schedule 2.
What about cocaine?
Schedule 2.
Coke.
Have you ever heard of anyone overdosing on fentanyl, hydrocodone, oxycodone, Oxycontin? Have you heard of anyone overdosing on that?
Absolutely.
Overdosing and dying.
And dying.
I have never met anyone who's died from the physical plant. I do not mean the derivatives. I don't mean adulterated marijuana. I mean natural plant flower marijuana. Never read about it, and I've read a lot. Now, don't take my word for it. But the flower, the natural plant, never documented case of death, not one. Hydrocodone, well over 200,000 deaths.
Wow.
Well over. That group, well over millions. Yeah, definitely. We know. I mean, I work in the ER.
Yeah.
Patient comes in, not breathing, pupils the size of the pinhead of a needle. What does everybody know what to do? Nurses, doctors, we all know what to do. Get that Narcan. You give it to them in the IV. Everybody moving fast, by the way. You pumping the chest. You putting the oxygen on them, putting a tube in their throat. And everyone, nurses, techs, doctors, we all know, get the Narcan. You put it in their vein, or you push it in their nose if you can't get an IV. And like that, they wake up. And first thing they want to do is go home.
Go home.
Yeah, it's so significantly deadly, hydrocodone, oxycodone, oxycontin, that now nationwide you are allowed to provide Narcan, a spray. You can go get it from the juice shop because it's that deadly and that prevalent.
I got certified in it.
Let me tell you, there's no spray nose thing for marijuana because ain't nobody dying from marijuana.
Ain't nobody dying.
And yet, Oxycontin is Schedule 2. Marijuana is Schedule 1.
That is sickening
Yes,
within
it is.
itself. You're literally putting people to be sick. Like, you're not giving them a full option to choose.
No, it's a lie. It is a full-on lie. They have a definition of Schedule 1. We talking about lies, y'all.
Lies.
And it's okay to use words properly as they appear in the dictionary. We know that a lie is a non-truth. Schedule 1 says deadly, highly addictive, zero medicinal benefit. 0, not 1. That's Schedule 1. Okay? Marijuana is Schedule 1. Now, Dr. K just told us that there are over 150 qualifying conditions, meaning diseases, that marijuana is said to treat. Just in the state of Texas alone, state of Texas acknowledges over 150 diseases that marijuana treats. Schedule 1 says no medicinal benefit.
Y'all putting it together.
Now, and it says deadly. Schedule 2 says not deadly, medicinal benefit. Now, it's true, hydrocodone does have a medicinal benefit, but it has also killed over millions of people.
Yeah.
So shouldn't it be Schedule 1?
Exactly.
So that's how you know what a lie is. A lie is when there's a truth, and this is an untruth.
It's a
lie. So marijuana has, at least in the state of Texas, 150 benefits. Why is it still Schedule 1?
America been lying.
And why is hydrocodone not Schedule 1?
We know.
The money,
the history, the war on drugs, and it's like, are we still in those times?
Yes, we are. And unfortunately, I'm from the African community. The African community is notorious for villainizing things that the United States lies about. The United States is a wonderful country. It means well. However, it is lying about marijuana. It is lying about ayahuasca. It is lying about iboga. It is lying about MDMA. It is lying about LSD. It is lying about a lot of drugs that are highly beneficial. And the African community is okay with perpetuating these discriminatory lies. These lies are intentionally discriminatory against our men in the Black and brown community, specifically to incarcerate them at rates that are just out of this world. And our community, mine being African and American, continues to perpetuate this.
Yeah.
By simply saying it's a drug, it's illegal, you're a miscreant, or you are, what did you call it, a crash dummy.
A crash dummy. That's what they use back home.
It's so harsh. So a lot of these misconceptions, I'm not really like a rights activist when it comes to these things. I just talk, and anyone who comes to me, I support them. I use my medical degree, my MD, to support patients and dissolve lies. But I don't go out there like trying to advocate all that stuff. I don't mind doing it. But my role, my job, what my passion is being ready and prepared for those who are waking up and who are looking for validation and support. That's what I do.
That's what needs to be caught right there, being prepared.
Find your girl.
Yeah, come find her. www.myhighhealth.com is where you can find her. Come on down to Houston, Texas and find her. Sit down, chit chat, be open up to the new, because that's what these, like, how can I say this? I like to look at myself as a advocate or activist for, that's just my passion. But there's so many forces. You know them voices.
If y'all don't know what forces are invisible things that get you moving unconsciously.
Ooh.
That already got a word for you to keep you in line. Those are forces.
Those are forces, and they try to distort your force field. You got to build a force field.
You got to build a force field
around it, because if you don't, how easily, as we've been shown before, you can just get off of your own track, or lies that's been told to you
that are programmed. To
really
detonate. They detonate. Ain't nobody around.
Wow. And they linger with you.
Yes, they do.
Years. Somebody tell you something at 10, it's still messing with you at
detonating
25.
at 43. Detonating. Like, wait a minute, am I a blasphemer?
Wait a minam it.
Am I unworthy? No, that's the detonation.
That's the detonation. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm what do you call it? The people that diffuse bombs. That's me.
They go in with it. What, was on Rush Hour? No. You ever seen Rush Hour?
I have.
The first one?
Chris Tucker.
And you remember the girl was doing the bomb? And she was concentrating on practicing on the bomb, and he went in there and said, "Hey!"
Oh.
And she blew the bomb up, and it was like, you see how that force could come in and
just get and bomb blow up, and you over there trying to keep it under wraps.
You trying to keep it
and here come this force. That was Chris Tucker in the example. The force talking about some hey, and make you just
get nervous,
blow up. Yeah,
blow shit up.
I tell myself, take a breath. You do not have to know. Slow it down. When that Chris Tucker force come in, hey. As soon as I hear that, and I turn around. Or these days, I don't even acknowledge it.
I don't even acknowledge it. But sometimes they'll come knocking, and they'll come like this. Hey! And I'm still ignoring it. And we have to tell people, sometimes even when you ignore it, don't mean it's going to stop.
It's going to get louder. And louder.
And louder. It's going to be like, you don't hear me. You're like, no.
No, then it stopped doing the knocking. It go into its pickup truck and start laying on the horn. And sometimes them things try to run through your front door.
Run you
with a battering ram.
Over. And I'm like, honey, what do I do? But this is why we're having this conversation.
Breathe.
Inhale.
Relax that sphincter.
Relax. And know who you are. I am what I am.
I am what I am.
All right, y'all. Let's keep it pushing here on the thing. So I do like to have a little mid-game. Like a little mid-show game. I'm going to give you 2 truths and a lie.
Okay.
And you give me 2 truths and a lie, and I have to guess your lie.
Okay.
All right. So, I love eating. It's my love language. I have been arrested. I have swimmed the entire pool, like back and forth.
2 truths and a lie.
And you tell me the lie.
The lie is, what was this? You said you...
I love eating. It's my love language. I've been arrested, and I was able to swim down and back on a pool.
You were able to swim down and back on the pool.
Oh, wait, that's the lie.
That's the lie.
Yeah, that's the lie.
That's the lie.
Yeah, that's the lie. You love me. Because I've been arrested. You know what I'm saying? I have been arrested, and the thing and why, I'm just going to tell y'all why I was arrested. Because I had cannabis smell in my car. They didn't find anything. Nothing did they find in my car. But I was arrested.
For the smell?
For the smell.
And I want to talk about this.
Let's talk about it.
Is it okay if I talk about this? Let me say something about the smell of cannabis. This is very, very, very frustrating for me, especially if you're someone that burns incense or smudges on a daily basis. Or if you're someone that prefers outdoor natural smells. So some of us will bathe in mud, for example, because we prefer the earthy smell. It also helps with skin cleansing, all that stuff. And a lot of us are waking up to aromas. So we don't just smudge in our house. Just police officers You got to smudge everywhere because energy gets on you. So we smudge our cars, and the smudge stays in the car. We smudge our shoes. We smudge our shower caps. Like, it's not just the house. We smudge our offices. Some people smudge their booty hole. So let me just say that first. Okay?
Booty.
I think people need to understand what it means to be black and brown. Okay? This is very important to us, our spiritual cleanliness.
Yeah.
Clarity of mind requires a type of work that I think a lot of people are not familiar with. So you cannot say that something smells like marijuana. Marijuana is full of something called terpenes. Terpenes are the chemical component of a plant that gives it its smell, but also its therapeutic effect. So a lot of people think that marijuana is all about THC. THC is just one player in the band. One. Okay? But I'm going to tell you right now, them terpenes are the main star.
Talk about it. Can we find terpenes in any other substance outside of cannabis?
Yes, ma'am. For example, that coffee smell in a cocoa bean, that's the terpene. And it's a similar terpene that's in most strains of indica. Marijuana, for those who don't know what indica is. INDICA. Look it up, please.
Please. Do your research.
Lemon or limonene, which is the terpene of lemon. Again, terpene is the smell. Lemon has a lemon smell, right? Limonene is a very specific terpene that uplifts, allows to help focus. It clears. So a lot of people will smudge with coffee and lemon. They don't just smudge with sage. I know white sage and all those sages are very popular, but we sage with a lot of things.
Yeah.
We smudge, with a lot of things. And so a lot of, please don't pull me over thinking that when you smell my car, which is meant to clear the energy of when you pull me over, that you think you smelling marijuana. And even if you smell marijuana, I'm allowed to have hemp.
All right. Mind your business.
I'm allowed to have hemp.
That's what I'm telling people. Mind your business. Like,
So,
police officers come in and they...
You should be looking for impairment. If you see signs of impairment, that is what it's for. That's what pulling people over for. But outside of that, do not worry about where I stopped. I could have just stopped at a dry flower shop. I could have, or I could have just smoked my hemp and then got in the car. I could have smoked it like 4 hours ago, and I'm completely clear. So I do believe that police officers are very helpful, very useful in helping us to not be impaired and careless. However, a smell, no, not a right, not a ground. And instead, what you should do is think about where else smells come from.
Exactly.
It's so crazy to me.
Where else do they come from, honey? Because they don't be thinking about that.
No.
Any law enforcement out there, police officers, if you want to come and you are an advocate of this plant and you want to be able to teach other law enforcement about this, please have a seat. Come on down and take and have a seat. Because I'm
gonna tell you, I love everyone. I love law enforcement. I do. I really do. But I do want to make sure that people who are looking for support understand that the way that you smell or what smells you choose to bring into your life, nobody should smell it and be like, this for sure.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. Why don't you ask me?
Yeah.
And I'm supporting those folks. Yeah. What if you live in the deep country?
I did. And my grandma used to say, "It's like a skunk, girl." And I'm like, maybe I ran into one today. She's like, "Did you run into a skunk?" I'm over here blazing on blazed. I said, it's skunky, all right. But it ain't the type of skunk you talking about.
But see, that's like the perfect example.
Yeah. You know, and it's nowadays I've smelled so many different types of strains that have these different terpenes that are more dominant than others in the strain. And I'm just like, how is this? It's literally a flower. Like a beautiful grown flower. That's how they be. And it's so funny.
The smell.
I just love this because you have Dr. Oga, you got Dr. K, being our authentic selves right now. And it's so many people that go to medical school, pharmacy school, dental school, just any profession, even law school. They feel like they have to be uptight all the time.
Oh, I understand that.
And they have to know it all. And they cannot be questioned. And if they are questioned, their answer is pretty much the right answer because they're going through textbook definitions, which is fine. But now you are not connected to the world. You're only in this box. You don't even know who you are. You're only being told who to become that fits in the realms of this society. But I had a little retreat. It was just a little small one in my house.
Okay.
And I had a few pharmacists over, had a few doctors and dentists over, and we partaked in cannabis, in marijuana. But what I found out is that each person consumes cannabis in a different way. So you don't have to just smoke it.
Right.
Please. That is the misconception that cannabis can only be smoked. And it doesn't have to be. You can consume it eating, gummies, tinctures. They have oils you can rub on your body. They have different delivery methods that you can consume. The same way they have different delivery methods in Western day medicine.
Right.
It is all the same. You ain't do your teeth like that. Somebody said, you got African in your family. I said, why? No, I'm just country. And they said,
It's the same thing.
That's what they said.
Same thing.
They said it's hand in hand.
It really is.
That's how it be. Shout out to Mississippi. All my people out there. We up, y'all. Not just kidding. All right. I'm just going through the questions. You know.
I love these questions.
This is one. So just getting back to authenticity, being yourself. What does that mean to you in a world that often demands we conform? And how do you guide others to uncovering their own truth?
Excuse me. Coming down from a little cold. Authenticity is said to be when an individual states a truth about themselves and simultaneously actually believes that truth to be true. And when a person is on a journey of self-discovery, which is a never-ending, then they will come into a new belief about themselves that they can now state as true. And for me, what I enjoy more than anything is being present as they begin to state beliefs about themselves that are true. I do not necessarily provide validation. I provide the space where validation lives. And so this gives individuals the opportunity to really authenticate themselves. And like I said, this is, in essence, the journey of self-discovery is finding points of authenticity or points of authentication where, the individual can develop a practice or a discipline where they just keep expressing or stating, however the expression is, clothes and cooking and speaking and moving the body, however they express it, as they come up and confront new beliefs about themselves. And those beliefs definitely are confrontational. Each time they require or will elicit a certain level of death. And it's the outcome of that confrontation. Yeah, and so what I enjoy more than anything, I definitely like to be present when these experiences happen. But more so, I have learned about myself that I am able to create the space where authenticity can thrive.
Yeah. Standing on big business.
Yep.
About who you are and then what you like and what you don't like. Because I realized how much of things that I said I like, and I was like, I do not like this, i.e. traditional pharmacy. Thank you for being here and showing us how to will your reality of what a healer looks like for you authentically and being open enough to have those people, places, ideas, or things to attract to you instead of chasing them.
Right.
You know.
Ooh, say that again.
We don't we don't chase, we attract.
Yes.
We don't chase.
That's the biggest learning of this journey. That right there. I was raised to be a hustler.
Yeah.
I was raised. You guys have heard of 419. Now, we don't do 419. But we were raised, Nigerians raise their children to be hustlers.
Because if you seen your resume, I know you seen it. But have you seen your resume? It's stacked, y'all. Like pages. Like I'm sure when you go do anything else, like I have to take some of this stuff off.
Oh, baby, yes.
Because you've been hustling your whole life. Your whole life.
So the belief was ingrained that it's actually a point of, confidence to be a chaser, a paper chaser, a career chaser, a title chaser, to chase it and to get it. We've been taught that. And now this is like a complete 180. The reality, what is true for me, and I would argue for most, but what's true for me is that it comes to me. Living is actually being in flow. And being in flow means allowing. It's allowing. It's just like a drain literally attracts water. It's very similar to that. Or a magnet attracts metal. It's very similar to that. That's the process of the universe. That's quantum. And we have been taught to pigeonhole into one aspect of experiencing something, and that is to chase it, subdue it, and eat it. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Hustle and flow.
Hustle, right. Ooh!
You said it! Hustle and flow.
Look, baby. I'm on the other side of the hustle. I'm on the flow.
Okay, I don't hustle no more. I flow.
There's a delicate balance that is in the works. There's something with hustling that is very gratifying. And so I don't think I'll ever, for me, abandon it. Yeah. However, being in flow means creating that balance,
right.
Right. But yeah, I'm right now, I'm in the flow, like attracting. It comes to me easily.
Yeah. And I think, I like how you said that, because I said I don't hustle anymore, but I have to be honest with myself. I think I've been in this space where I don't feel like I hustle when it's something that I love. When I'm in alignment with what I do, I don't feel like I'm hustling.
Right.
So I tell myself, I ain't hustling. I'm just naturally I want to progress in this area. But I do like have you ever seen the movie Hustle and Flow?
Yes.
I don't think I ever made them.
Oh, y'all don't get me started on Mr. Terrence Howard. That being has me thinking about some things. I definitely have seen that movie.
It's good.
It's so good.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, oh, he hustled and flowed. And it was tough, but I just keep thinking in my head, keep hustling. Keep flowing. I was like, okay. And to know that Taraji really exploded with the character. Hold up. I just made a connection.
Uh-oh.
Taraji and Terrence was in Hustle and Empire together. I just thought about this.
I have never seen Empire. I need to watch it.
I only seen clippets.
I've never seen it.
I haven't seen. I like when she say a boo boo kitty kitty. Like, Get Boo Boo Kitty out of here. Like, I like when she do that. It was an episode where the lady started stuttering and she was like, oh, boo boo, she. Get out of here, Lucius.
Oh, wow. That just reminded me of a dream that I had last night.
Oh, tell me about the dream.
Well,
if you don't mind sharing.
It's expanding because you just said a boo boo, she, stuttering. I was in a classroom. I'm tingling in my left bicep. I was in the classroom, and there was a woman there that asked me if I wanted to be in a relationship with her. And there was something that I said, oh, I stopped and I thought about it. And I said no. And either there was a repetition that sounded like that sound, or Taraji somehow was there.
When we get off, we're going to explore that deeper.
Yeah,
when we get off of here, we're going to explore that deeper because I want to know.
I'm just remembering it just now.
I want to know. Ooh, okay. Taraji, you next time.
I know, right? Ooh, that's another one.
She on the list.
I've never met these people, but I feel like
I know her.
The energy is very familiar.
I have a question. Let's see here. So, I have a question. Like, I haven't been asking questions this whole time. Okay. For someone who feels stuck or disconnected from themselves, how can practices like mindfulness or exploring the endocannabinoid system help them begin their healing process?
If they feel stuck.
If they feel stuck or disconnected, what would be some tools or tactics that they can start with?
You know, being stuck is a very specific process. Think about if you were in a pool of quicksand. The more you fight, the further you sink down. Now, sinking down may not be that big of a deal because I know, we all feel the way about death. But, I mean, I don't think if you don't want to be smothered by this quicksand, you have to stop, breathe, allow the mud to collapse on you. Allow it to get to a place where it can settle and become solid for a moment. Feel the solidness. Instead of trying to fight sinking, embrace sinking so that you can feel the moment of solid. And then accept patience, because each step requires the mud to recalibrate to a point of solidness so that you can step up.
Yeah.
And the strategy of stepping up is not flailing.
Yeah.
It's standing firm, just as solid as that mud is at that moment. And when you step up, you have to wait again. Cannabis helps to allow breath. It helps to allow the elongation of the perception of time so that you do not struggle with the feeling that you're running out of time. When you're stuck, the tendency in my experience is to feel like I got to do something. I got to get out of this. But cannabis allows patience to become an actual thing. And so with the analogy of the quicksand, it will allow you to wait until the moment around you becomes a little bit more solid.
Yeah. No, that is beautiful. I like how you explain it because you see these goosebumps going on over here. Because that was me just, that's me. Every time I feel like I'm transitioning and I'm dying and being rebirthed. And each time it feels like I want to do more. Like you said with the quicksand, I need to move. But the further that I move, the further I add on to get out of this state, the further I sink within it. But if I'm going to sink, let it be intentional. This is not an intentional sink. This is more so me digging a hole because I'm trying to escape whatever it is I don't want to feel. Like, seriously.
Woo! You know, the things we don't want to feel sometimes are the things we specifically need to feel.
We have to. It is paramount. Or you won't go to the next level. You won't transcend to the next phase. So as long as you're avoiding, you might as well just look it in the face and keep it pushing. Just look it. For instance, as you know, being out of a relationship, being out of a 9-year relationship, when I left, I didn't want to feel that because I didn't identify with those feelings. Sadness, weak, broken, confused, lost, disoriented. Now, those are things that I worked hard to not identify with or to not feel. Because for me, I feel like that stops my progression. But as I've been in my solitude, it is the very thing that helped me to ascend. The very thing that allowed me to be authentic and vulnerable, to feel those feelings. And stared in the face while crying, while screaming to the top of my lungs. Literally screaming to the top of my lungs, as if somebody was just stabbing me, because that's physically what it felt like. And so with that, the quicksand, it having to feel it around you. Just stay still and feel it and be in it. I went through a death that seemed so long, but then I became pregnant. And most people think not physically pregnant, okay, but because most people be like,
you gotta clarify.
Let me tell people all the time. I didn't come physically pregnant, people. You can be pregnant with an idea. You could, because you are pregnant. Now, whether you want to keep it or not, you let me know. But you could be pregnant with ideas. You could be pregnant with thoughts. You could be pregnant with a building. That's your baby. How you introduce. And what I was birthing is this higher version of myself. And I just didn't want to do that. Because now you're telling me that I have to overcome these feelings. Now that I've accepted these feelings, I'm sitting in them. But now I have to somehow release them and overcome them. That's why I want to feel them in the first place. Because feeling them, I have to now, how do I get out of this? If I don't go there, I don't have to get out of something. If I don't get in the quicksand, I ain't never got to get out of it. But if you are a person who really wants to ascend to your higher self, a person who wants to become the motherfucker you are, excuse my language, but not.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. You have to feel that and be in stillness. And some people are scared of that. I know a lot of people who are scared to be by themselves, who don't want to sit with shame or guilt or pain, whether physical, mental, emotional. They don't want to sit with it. And so they go through this life just being told what to do in this repetitious cycle. And then they get of age and they like, I don't know who I am. It's because you never allowed yourself just to be. You didn't allow yourself to cry in front of people. You didn't allow yourself to be vulnerable because you didn't see the strength in vulnerability. So having you, though, trying to cry. having you. To help guide me through this transition and allowing me to be so vulnerable and myself with every emotion that comes. Every emotion that comes. But I know that in order for you to allow me to be that way, you had to go through it yourself. And so I thank you. I thank you. My sister, I thank you. I love you so much. I love you too. Because people should have this freedom to be themselves, to cry. Y'all see me crying on the goddamn podcast. And I don't give a shit, tell your mama. But vulnerability is something that we're missing, I feel, in our community.
Then you know we got 5 minutes.
I know. I know we got 5 minutes. I know. Okay. So with that 5 minutes, y'all, I'm sorry. Y'all
vulnerability, yes.
That vulnerability is strength in that. People don't want to be vulnerable. I had to learn that. I had to learn how to be vulnerable and not let those forces infiltrate my vulnerability. Because I just don't care no more. And I'm still learning. There's still some things I'm like, I don't know if I can say all that. But now I'm just like, my tribe is my tribe. And there are other tribes that I actually want to go and learn from. Always be open to learning. Always be open to learning. Challenge yourself. Even if you are the only person that look like you in the room. Challenge yourself. Because you're going to leave with something.
Yep.
What Denzel watched that? I'm leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with something. I'm from around the way. I'm leaving here with something. I ain't come over here just for nothing. No, we leaving with something. So, 5 minutes. With that 5 minutes, let's see. This is what I just wanted to give to people. First, I want them to tell you, where can they find you if they're looking for you?
Well, my practice is called Maha Health, M-A-H-A, which is Sanskrit for big. I did not know that because it's short, actually, for my dad's middle name.
Wow.
I know. Maha Health is a virtual and in-person practice. It can be found at www.mahahealth.org, or I'm best reached by email, heal@mahahealth.org. If you are interested in the Texas Compassionate Use Program, you can find me those ways, or go onto the TCUP website, which is the Department of Health, State Health Services. And also my office number, 832-622-5395. You can also call me or send a text. It is HIPAA compliant texting. And yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I just want to say, after this episode, I really want you to take 10 minutes to reflect on this conversation. If it resonated with you, if it sparked something in you, no matter what the feeling is, no matter the emotion, let it happen and share it. Share it with someone that may need to hear this, or who is trying to find their way. Let them know they can come over here and feel safe, feel seen, feel heard, and to authentically be themselves. So with that being said, y'all, I'm going to end the show with "To whom this may concern." Well, we keep it real, we keep it authentic, and it's full of love. Peace.